Zada from LUCIDPIXUL, and welcome back. This week, I started with a new student. And usually when I start with a new student, when we first meet, we get to know each other a little bit more. So I like to find out more about the person's background and education and where they are artistically and any obstacles and goals that they have as artists and professionals, just to kind of get to know each other and see where they stand and where they want to go with their stuff and what their general feelings are about their art and their career. And in this particular case, I could tell that by his body language and by the way he spoke and by what he said, the words that he actually said, he was pretty down on himself. He blamed himself for being somebody who couldn't focus for any length of time, and he kind of liked to jump from one thing to another. He started strong but would tap out pretty quickly, and had some very direct accusations of himself that he lacked ambition, he lacked focus, etc. He also mentioned that he was possibly diagnosed with ADHD, which would be, he was still waiting to get that diagnosis, but that's very common. I teach a lot of students with ADHD. I have a son with ADHD. It's kind of very, very common. Especially in artists, right? Because as artists, art is very stimulating emotionally, which can help to balance those dopamine receptors that might be lacking in other domains and stuff. But I heard him out, and I started to get a picture of how he felt about what he produced and his level of ambition and all these different types of things. And he was verbally and mentally preparing me for artwork when we had a look at his artwork that might be a little bit less advanced, that it might need work, right? And that's what I was totally expecting. That's what he was kind of preparing me for, because I was going to look at his work. So after about 10-15 minutes of chatting, I had a look at his portfolio, and to my surprise, it was nothing like I expected. I saw artwork that was highly professional. I saw artwork that was very well done. Not only that, but it was great visual storytelling and design. His values were great. His designs were fantastic. I didn't see anything amateur about his work whatsoever. And despite expressing that, he continued to blame himself for lacking ambition, lacking focus, and I wouldn't deny him that. If I've only known him for about 15-20 minutes at this point, so I don't know what his history is. But what I'm seeing, if I didn't hear his story and just looked at his work, I wouldn't buy that. I would not believe him, because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of talent to get to that point. So as we continued to talk, he started to express to me how, he's only good for a certain period of time, and then he starts to tap out and he gets bored, and then he goes and he does something else, and he does something else, and he starts listing off this whole checklist of different things that he's interested in. And he expressed to me that he goes in really strong at the beginning, but then fades and has to move on to the next thing. So when it comes to his artwork or any other one of the endeavors that he's into, that he does it in short periodic stints. He doesn't just go all in for months and months and just draw. He'll do it for a little while. He'll have a good burst at it. And then after that, he kind of taps out and has to move on to something else. And he kind of abandons art, so to speak. And he expressed this with a sense of shame. He expressed this with this sense of embarrassment, with I know I kind of screwed up here. I know I'm not great, but that's the reality that I have to live with. And I didn't judge him for that, but what I could do, what I was doing in the back of my head, which I expressed later on, was relate to him. I relate to him a lot. Now, I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, although I've had my curiosities, but I have a son with ADHD. I have a partner with ADHD. It's something I'm very aware of, and it's a subject I'm very passionate about, and something I do a lot of homework on, and I work with students with ADHD all the time. It's very, very common. So in that regard, fine. But what I could relate to in what he was saying was the fact that I have not ever in my life been somebody who only did one thing 24 hours a day. I could not, if my life, if my job, if my mandate, if my responsibility was to just draw all the time, every day, all the time, and just draw, and just, as they say, crush it, then I would have given up. I probably would have given up art a long time ago, period. I would have gotten bored of it and I would have quit. In fact, reflecting back on my past, something that I've expressed before was when I was passionate about something, when I had a personal ambition for something, I went all in. I've always been an all-in person. In fact, me and my girlfriend had a conversation just yesterday about it, where she was saying, when you get into something, you're not passionate about everything, but when you are passionate about something, there's no halfway with you. You're an all-in guy. When I get into fitness and cycling and training every day, or if I'm into audio and video equipment, or I'm into writing and pens and paper, or playing chess. These are things that I don't just fiddle with. These are things that I approach with a great sense of ambition. I always aim to get really good at them. But a lot of other things, I completely suck at, and I completely don't even give them 2 seconds of my thought because they're not things that interest me. But I have always depended on, and I was raised by somebody who always depended on learning and growing and expanding and experiencing new things. And this isn't some like, oh, I'm so smart, I'm so blah, blah, blah. But I need to learn all the time. I need to grow. I need to be interested in something. To me, torture is sitting down doing nothing. It's sitting down and just staring at the wall. I love playing games. If I'm into the game, I love doing other stuff if I'm into it. But I have to be productive. I have to be growing in some way. And I can say confidently that if I break up my day every day, that I only spend a very small proportion of that physically drawing when I'm not teaching. If I wasn't teaching, I would be spending a lot more time drawing my own stuff. I'm constantly in a busy mood, and I'm doing this from day till night. And only a small portion of that is drawing. From my experience, from my history, does that make me feel like I am an unambitious artist? No. It's that there was a certain point in my life where I realized, Adam, you're not a one-trick pony. You like many things. And for you to feel rounded and fulfilled and grow and become a better version of yourself, including becoming a better teacher in art and becoming a better artist, it's not only beneficial, it's mandatory that I have more than one interest. And I remember I might have referenced this in the past because I do tend to repeat myself a lot, but I remember watching a TED Talk from somebody who was talking about, I think it was a talk about ADHD, but she was talking about how ADHD applies to everybody's life. And she was saying how there's this myth of destiny. There's this myth of permanence associated with something. This is my true love forever. It is my fate. It is my destiny to be a fireman. And I have to be able to figure that. I have to have come to that conclusion when I was 8, right? You see all those videos of people who interview elementary school kids and they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're always trying to figure out what that person's destiny is. People think that's where success comes from. People think that it's all or nothing. It's just do that every day. It's just love one thing for the rest of your life. And I personally really feel, from my perspective and what brings me fulfillment and growth and joy and makes me better at everything that I do, including art, that's kind of bullshit. I think it's a very unhealthy and very linear perspective on life. I'm listening to my student talking to me. I'm listening to him and he's telling me all these different things that he does. And he started showing me examples of these different things that he did, all these side passions that he did and these different things that he designed and created that have nothing to do directly with drawing. And I'm sitting there going, every single thing you showed me was amazing. Like, this is amazing and that's amazing. I started with a student today who another amazing artist. I had a consultation with her today, and she's also a baker, and she wanted to make like cakes and stuff like that. She opened up her own private shop and started selling cakes. I'm sitting there going, do you have any idea how much baking cakes and designing cakes and playing around with different textures of different icings, of different shapes, of different materials, of different colors, how much that contributes to you as an artist? I think that to be a well-rounded artist, you have to understand yourself better. Are you the type of person who does not like to diversify because that makes you feel like you're watering down the process, so you have to focus on one thing all the time? If the way to find that out is do it. If you try drawing 7 days a week for 4 to 6 hours a day, don't push it because you don't want to burn yourself out, and you love it, and the more you do it, the more you enjoy it, and you just love being in this completely immersive environment, then for now at least, you're in the right place. Keep doing it. You're going to grow very quickly in your way because that's a rhythm of life. That's a style of life that really, really suits you. But if you try and you go all in for 3 days, 4 days, and around 5 days, you start to get really kind of sick of it. And at 6 days, you feel like you're trying to pull your own teeth out of your mouth. And by the 7th day, you say, screw this, I'm going to go and play some video games because I can't stand this shit. Or screw this, I'm going to go and hang out with my friends because if I look at another drawing, I'm going to flip my drawing table over in protest. That's telling you something. What it's not telling you is that you're a loser and that you lack ambition. What it is telling you is that you need variety to grow. I can say with absolute confidence, without any shame in my voice, I don't like drawing 24 hours a day. I just don't. I get sick of it. I'm teaching all day and then I'm drawing, and I draw when I draw regularly, I draw consistently. But I also do a lot of other stuff. And all those other things that I do, learning about astrophysics, setting up a new table now for a setup for a video I'm going to be doing soon, reading books, writing, studying about pens, watching Gotham chess or something like that, and learning different chess strategies or watching chess championships. Allowing myself to completely distance myself from this frame of thought and pulling myself into another frame of thought exposes me to principles of life, to communities, to schools of thought, to philosophies. There's another thing, philosophy. There's something I've been studying a lot lately too, that in turn find themselves back into my art. They find themselves back into my teaching. And you can ask any of my students, anybody who's taken my course, a large percentage, I'd say the majority percentage, at least over 50% of what I teach in art is my own style of teaching, because a lot of it does not come from drawing. I get into the physics, I get into the science and the physics of lighting. I get into tattoo art. I get into acting. I talk about casting. I talk about visual storytelling. I talk about, I tie in color to sound. I make a direct connection between color and sound, both from a scientific perspective and from a visual perspective, and how these different things apply and help to teach principles in lighting. And I use photography as an example on how to draw different things in different lighting situations that an artist would never figure out. Do you think if I never picked up a camera, I would ever be able to understand that principle? No, but I do. And to me, it's what makes teaching and drawing and learning fascinating. To me, art is not the only thing I am. I consider art, and this is where you come into the picture, and this is what I've shared with my students. Art is not everything to me. What art is my foundation. Art is the core. It is the black hole that consumes everything else. That sooner or later, everything that I learn, everything that I will learn, all of those things find themselves back in drawing. They bring incredible value into my artwork. right away, immediately. And what it also does is, as an artist, it offers me the power of flexibility, the power of flexible and versatile thought, which is something that chess teaches me, which is something that philosophy teaches me, right? It's the power of flexible thought, that if I reach an obstacle, I don't sit there and stare at my drawing board and go, how the hell do I draw a night scene? How the hell do I draw a night scene? How do I set up the lighting in the scene so that it makes this nighttime scene not look terrible and amateur? Well, if you picked up a camera and you watched one online tutorial about nighttime photography and shutter speed, all the answers to your nighttime images would be solved in a heartbeat, right away. Watch a video on movie sets and atmospheric depth and atmospheric fog to create a bloodborne type of value separation between different objects in the foreground and background. And all of a sudden you go, the answer was sitting right in front of me the whole time. I was just looking in the wrong place. As a teacher, students throw me curveballs every day. They'll ask me, they'll pick apart what I'm saying and they'll say, okay, that's cool. What about that? And more often than not, I do have an answer. And the answer doesn't come from, well, draw it like this, draw it like that. No, I explain it in a way that's from a different school of thought. And it makes a lot more sense in that context. And all of a sudden they understand the principle. And I can explain it in multiple different angles to different people. What I'm telling you is, I'm not telling you go and learn 25 things, nor am I telling you sit down and draw 24 hours a day. What I want you to do instead is figure out which side of the fence you lean more towards. Do you get bored easily, but you really excel at things you're passionate about? Like, I don't know, video games, music, playing music, other things. If that's the case, don't see this as a flaw in your character. See this as a character trait. You are a learner. You are somebody who likes to diversify your knowledge outside of a single box. If you are gifted with hyper-focus over a long period of time, and you can draw till the cows come home, and you feel comfortable and inspired and you grow really fast and you get a lot of praise and love from your fellow artists out there that tell you, my God, you get so good so fast, you're so amazing, I wish I could be like you, then good on you, as they say. Good on you. Then wonderful. Then you have embraced your true self and you're going with it. But life is not binary. Life is not white and black. There's many different spectrums of people, and there's many different spectrums of thought. There's many different spectrums of learning. There's many different spectrums of growth. And you have to embrace that. And when you do, you're going to stop feeling shame. You're going to start feeling really, really smart. You're going to start feeling very capable. You're going to start protecting your integrity. You're going to start embracing the way your brain works and the rhythm of your brain. And you're going to start finding guilt-free growth. And isn't that what we all want in the end? And with that said, I love you all with all my heart, and happy painting. Take care.